When I, 24 female, was 5, my mother had her second child, my sister, 19. We have different dads and neither was involved when we were kids. My sister was born prematurely and this is when my mother went from being my mom to being an almost stranger to me. She spent all the time at the hospital with my sister. I was passed around from friends to family and even to strangers to my mother. I didn't know because an aunt would hand me over to someone in her husband's family or a family friend and would pass me on to their friend. My sister was in hospital for months and had many complications from being born so early. She was one of the youngest preemies in the hospital's history. When she started to get strong enough to go home, complications with her stomach were found and that required more time and more treatments. My mother was in and out of the hospital with her for the next couple of years as they performed surgeries and gave treatments when she got sick. At that point, even when my mother was home with my sister, she would keep me somewhere else normally, and the times I was home with her, I was left alone and her focus was my sister. Then, when my sister was 2, she was diagnosed with leukemia, and that resulted in more treatments, more hospital visits, and just never ever seeing them. By the time I was 10, my mother was okay leaving me at home while they were at the hospital, so I was alone. It was around this time that my teachers started to suggest I might have dyslexia, and the school reacted out to my mother, but she was too focused on my sister to do anything for me. Nothing changed after my sister became cancer-free and she was less sick and needed the hospital less. My mother was so devoted to her that she ignored me, and both were strangers to me. As a teenager, I started staying with my girlfriend's family and my mother didn't care. I would only return to her house when I needed to pick up some more clothes or stuff, and when I turned 18, I moved out officially and got my dyslexia diagnosis. Now, several years on, I don't really have anything to do with my mother or my sister. I don't blame my sister for any of this. It's just that no bond could form when we were younger and she's a stranger to me. My mother has started to have some health problems and turned to me for help. She told me I should be around more and do stuff to help her because she's my mom. She also said my sister deserved a relationship with me and accused me of punishing my sister for existing. I told her that wasn't true, but we were strangers because of her and my mother. I also told her that she hadn't been my mom since I was 5 and she had no right to ask me to care for her when she hadn't cared for me in almost 20 years. She called me a selfish and spoiled child who never grew up. Am I the idiot? So you're spoiled from being abandoned, from having such a loving mother. Ask her to name just one instance that she's spoiled you in any way. You are not the idiot. How lovely that your mother finally remembered she had another child. What about the rest of the family? Huh? Why is no one helping her? What you said is true. Your mom has never been around for you, unfortunately. Your mom neglected you and this is the result. If your sister wants a relationship with you, which might still be possible, it will be up to her to do the legwork and you'd have to make it clear you don't want anything to do with your mom or your mom getting involved in your relationship. But the sister didn't do anything right either. I suspect that this sister still needs care and Mom is thinking OP would make a great caretaker. Sis may not be mentally able to live on her own. It really says it all that Mom only reaches out to OP when she has health problems. No apology, empathy or attempt at rebuilding any semblance of a relationship. OP, one of the most common reactions to being correctly called out on a terrible behavior you were unaware of is anger. Your mother knows and you called her on it. The defense mechanism of being angry and hoping that your anger counters their hurt is a real thing, and you just saw it. Tell her you don't blame your sister for how things worked out, it's all your mother's fault and she needs to learn consequences like you had to without a parent being there. Mom abandoned you, so she's not entitled to anything. I do digital portraits, mainly as a hobby, but I've gotten a few commissions here and there. A while ago, my boyfriend and I were hanging out with mutual friends, and my boyfriend suggested that I do a portrait as a gift for someone's upcoming birthday. While it was a little annoying to be volunteered by him, I did think it was a good gift idea and went ahead and did it. The next time a birthday in the group came up, my boyfriend made the same suggestion, and as a result, the birthday portrait has become my thing. My boyfriend will get something small since he views the portrait as from us. The part where I may be the idiot here is that I haven't told him explicitly to stop volunteering me for these portraits. It's my fault for going along with the birthday gift thing for our friends without saying anything, but I assumed that he would at least keep these requests within the realm of common sense. Well, his college buddy is getting married and my boyfriend told him I would make him a portrait of him and his bride as a wedding gift. I've never even met this person. To make matters worse, he apparently made this promise weeks ago but only told me about it today, and the wedding is this Saturday. I finally lost it at him and said to him that I'm not his personal portrait sweatshop and that he only does this because he's a cheapskate and it gets him out of spending any money on a gift, even though it costs me a lot of time. He argued back that a bespoke portrait is so much better than just buying something off the resume, that it's a generous thing for me to do, it helps build my portfolio, and that I don't get very many paid commissions anyway. For the record, I don't get many paid commissions because I don't charge peanuts for them. I have a full-time job, so I price according to what would be worth giving up the free time it takes me. He told me that I put him in a challenging position, that he hyped up the portrait and they were both really looking forward to it. He said, please just do this one and I won't ask again. I said, no, I don't even know these people, so this is not my problem. He looked up a couple of portrait artists online. Still, none of them were willing to do the piece on the short turnaround he needed, plus at the quality he wanted, plus at the price he was willing to pay. He even tried using an AI image generator, which was a complete slap in the face to me as an artist. Still, all of the outputs were very obviously AI. He's begging me to please just do this one, and he'll make it up to me on my birthday. But especially after he apparently thought my work was so worthless that it could be effortlessly reproduced by a machine, I'm just really not in the mood. Not the idiot. It would be one thing if he gave you a month's notice. I suspect he had a hunch you wouldn't want to do a portrait for someone you don't know or haven't even met. That's likely why he sprang it on you at the last minute, so that you felt like you couldn't say no. He can go buy another present and apologize to his friend. The fact that he's trying to twist your arm to get you to do this rather than taking responsibility for his poor planning and rude assumptions is absolutely his problem. I would not back down, and if he won't let this go, I would seriously take a look at the relationship and evaluate how often he's devalued you and taken advantage of you at the same time. Yeah, even the apparently clueless can easily see when someone is building a tower of resentment. He just kept pushing and playing dumb. OP should total up the charge of all the previous portraits she made at his request and demand payment. He needs to know the true value of free gifts. I have been with my husband for 3.5 years and married just over a year. A few months ago we had our first child. My husband is an only child, his father was never in the picture. He and his mom have never really been close. Now for a little backstory, we are both at odds with my mother-in-law, and it all started less than 24 hours after I had my son. My husband and I told both my mother-in-law and my mother that we didn't want our son's birth turned into a photo op. People taking pictures of me have always made me uncomfortable. My son had some complications immediately after he was born, and he was rushed to the NICU. I wasn't able to see him for roughly 9 hours. Once I was allowed to go into the NICU, my husband went with me as this was the first time I was officially meeting my newborn son. Next thing I know, I see my mother-in-law using this opportunity as a photo op. I was fuming. These were not the first pictures I wanted of my son or of my husband and I with our son. The following day, my mother-in-law decided she wanted to come back and see our son, who is now safe and in our room. I'm running on maybe 2 hours of sleep, but still said it was okay for her to come. Once she was there, I didn't really interact with her. I was just trying to rest. After she left, she ended up calling my husband. This was when he decided to call her out on the photo op and how she completely violated a boundary that we clearly set for a week. I was out doing errands and getting groceries. Mother-in-law asked me multiple times if I wanted anything from Sam's Club. I would constantly tell her, no, but thank you. She was doing the same to my husband and he would also respond, no, we're good thanks. I returned home and my son was screaming. He hadn't slept all day. We all decided to try to nap. My husband finally fell asleep and I finally got my son to fall asleep. About 10 minutes later, there's a knock on my door. My dog goes flying and barks her head off, waking up my son. I answer the door and say, why are you here? She says I wanted to bring you a rotisserie chicken, a trash can and laundry detergent. I told her we already said we didn't want anything and to not show up at our house unannounced, and that the next time she tries to give us random crap, I will immediately return it to her. We don't want anything from her. She got angry and said she will never come over or speak to us again, and slammed the door. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Mother-in-law needs to learn to respect your and your husband's boundaries. This is wrong of me, but the quickest cure for the constantly popping by unannounced guest is to stop answering the door like a knee-jerk response to the bell. I never answer the bell when I'm not expecting anyone, and I rarely casually grab the phone when it rings unless I'm at work. I needed a clean circle of get off my dang nerves, so I created one, and yes, I will tell anyone later, sorry I missed you, what did you need? I think everyone's the idiot here. I can't tell if there's more at play or if you just don't like the lady. I can understand the picture, but when family gets sick, we complain that no one steps up to the plate to help. She was trying to do that, and I don't believe you mentioned that you told her not to come over. So was it egregious that you had to talk to her like that? Yeah, I'm picking up on a tone from the OP that she really doesn't like mother-in-law. OP, you are the idiot, simply because I understand that you're tired, you have a new baby, you're exhausted, your husband and baby are sick, but I feel you're being very harsh. I genuinely think she's right in that you don't like her. I'm seeing this from her point of view. She probably busted her butt as a single mom to raise her son and is remembering those early times when she would have loved someone to pick up some groceries and wish she could have had photo memories from her birth as well. I can see that it's frustrating for you to draw clear boundaries and have them be ignored, but I don't think she's doing it to be callous. She's trying to be helpful, and you're pushing her away and being unnecessarily rude. I, male 48, and my wife, Anne, 47, live alone. Our kids have moved out. I'm the breadwinner and Anne is the stay-at-home. Now she's the housewife after our youngest moved out last year. What's changed is that she says she's owed for raising our kids and caring for the household. She wants more personal time, less work around the house. So I've basically taken over almost all of the housework, cooking 3 meals, cleaning the house. I'm still working a full-time job, and I've never slacked on chores that I did, such as gardening, hard lifting, etc., and I was never an absent father. I've been bored with it for the past year. Still, she's gotten more abusive, outright berating me in front of the kids when they visit that I'm only good for my strength and don't think about the household at all, while she's doing less of the household work. It's gotten to the point that I just want to relax in the car for a good minute because I only know there's a long list of things to do. Last night she went out with her friends while I slept early for work. This morning I looked for the car key for over 30 minutes, which were not in the drawer we always put them in. I woke her up to ask where she put them, and she grumbled at me to find them myself before going back to sleep. I ended up finding it in her handbag and got to work late. I got home today to her screaming at me for invading her privacy by going through her handbag. I tried telling her that she told me to find them myself, but she kept cutting me off, saying that I should have known better than to dig through her belongings. She has rights, and I should respect them, and wait for her to wake before getting her to find the keys herself. When she said she didn't care if I was late to work, I lost it. Her exact line was, "It's not like we need that stupid money anymore." I yelled back at her that she was entitled and selfish and that the only reason she's been able to enjoy her current time is because of my stupid money. She's been having it far too easy the past year, and if she wants to see what she's owed, she can go back to either working or doing all the chores she's dumped on me. Anne was shell-shocked that I yelled back at her. The rest of the night was quiet, and she's locked herself in our bedroom and hasn't come out. I've called our kids and told them what happened. My daughter agrees with me, but my son says that I may have been too harsh to call her entitled and implied that I undermined her efforts all those years as a stay-at-home mom. They will take turns calling Anne, but now I wonder if I may have been overboard with yelling at her about taking it too easy. Our daughter has suggested couples therapy and said she's going to suggest it to Anne as well. I'm more than willing to do so, as today's encounter made me reflect that I'm getting exhausted and weary of this life. Not the idiot. Your wife sounds messed up. Something is very wrong. This is the time when both of you should be enjoying your life together. Something's wrong. She's either having a midlife crisis or an affair. Find out. The overreaction to finding keys was a giveaway. I almost get the vibes that she's wanted to leave for a while but had stayed for the kids. Now that the kids are gone, she feels like she doesn't have to try anymore and is either trying to push him away on purpose or subconsciously. The relationship is in serious trouble and therapy is a necessity. I've been with my husband for 23 years and he can check my bag and I can check his phone to find the bills he receives and doesn't send me for our society. We have nothing to hide. She wants a divorce, my dear sir. Get ready to be taken for a ride because ain't no way. Get yourself a great attorney and wait for her affair to come about. Alimony will be due, but prepare yourself. Update. Thank you for all your responses. Really, it's gotten me through the past few hours just reading the immense amount of advice, good or bad. Anne came out and we talked a little. She apologised for her comment and I apologised for yelling at her. She said our daughter called and Anne thinks marriage counselling would be good. She asked if she could be alone tonight and we could discuss more tomorrow. I'm taking tomorrow off work so we can work through this. I still trust Anne, so I'm not holding on to any belief that she's cheating on me. I will continue to maintain that and not change my view on that. Again, thank you all.